Hi everyone, it's Zoe from Indigo Sea Massage Therapy here. I just wanted to show you today a little behind the scenes of how I make a vegan perfume balm. I'm not going to go into all of the good manufacturing practices, all of the cleaning and the washing up and the preparation, but I'm just going to show you the ingredients that I use and the basic process. So we'll start with our ingredients. Today I'm using jojoba oil. It's a golden jojoba oil, so it's got a nice yellow colour. And jojoba oil is actually a wax. It's a liquid wax until it gets cold, which in Australia doesn't happen too often, but when it does, it sets. So it's a really nice oil and it's very nice on the skin. I've got my essential oils already pre-measured out and put in a beaker, and I have 3 essential oils in this beaker. I've got melissa, which is also known as lemon balm. I've got juniper berry and patchouli. I wanted to have a slightly citrus smell without actually having a citrus oil in there. So the lemon balm, the melissa, has done that. And I've pre-mixed them and I've weighed them. So I actually use a jeweler's scale and weigh out the essential oils. And I try and keep to a formula, like a cosmetic formulation. So all of my ingredients I have as percentages of the total product. So if maths isn't your thing, don't stress about it too much. It's something you can build up to. The third ingredient we've got here is candelilla wax. And this is how the balm is vegan rather than using beeswax, which is quite commonly used for balms. There are some environmental and sustainability issues with candelilla wax. So small amounts, use small amounts, don't go crazy on it. And then we have shea butter, which is a really nice butter. It has a very low melting point, as you'll see. When I put the jojoba oil, the candelilla wax, and the shea butter together in a jug, it's a glass Pyrex jug, so it's but any heat-proof glass jug will be fine. So I put those in. I don't put the essential oils in yet because they get affected by heat. So if I heated them up, it would change the scent and it might change the chemical composition of the essential oils, and I don't want that to be the case. I want them to be as close to their original form as possible in this. Now, before I put all the ingredients together, I set up a steamer. So I've got a pan with some water in it and it's on a medium-high heat, and I've put a silicone steamer in it. So the water level is above the silicone steamer, but not so high that if it bubbles, goes to a boil, that any water is going to get into the jug. We don't want any water in the actual formulation. I've also put out the little plastic balm pots that I'm going to be pouring the balm into. So I've popped the Pyrex jug into the steamer, and that's going to start to warm up all the ingredients, but gently. That's why we pop it in water so that it's not on a direct heat, it's indirect heating. And again, that's just so that our ingredients don't get damaged with any of the heat. So we want to use as little heat as possible to get everything to melt. Now I took a video. The shea butter, you can see, disappears really quickly. That melts quite easily, but the candelilla wax took ages. And I'm not a very patient person, so I've sped that up for you. And I've just kept stirring this intermittently, just trying to encourage everything to melt down into one mass and for it to blend properly. And once I'm happy that that's done and all of the candelilla wax finally melted, then I turned off the heat and I used a tea towel to pick up the jug because it's now hot. And I had some cork pot holders on the bench as well so that I didn't damage the bench with the hot jug. So I've taken that out, I've popped it down on the bench, and I've wiped all of the condensation off around the edge of the outside of the jug. Again, just to make sure that that doesn't get into our formulation. Now I've kept stirring in the jug because I want to really make sure everything is blended. And as I start to look for signs of it, the mixture cooling, and what that's going to look like is it's going to become less translucent, more opaque. So you will notice that there starts to be There might be some products, like some mixture, sticking to the edges a little bit more, or it might change colour. You can see here that it starts to look a bit different. You can see it's getting less and less translucent and a little more opaque. But it's still liquid. And while it's still liquid but it's cooled, that's when I put in the essential oils. So I just pour them in from the beaker and keep stirring with the spatula until I'm confident that it's really well mixed through and nice and evenly mixed. And once I've done that, we're hoping that the balm is still not cooled enough to set. We still want it to be liquid. And then I start to pour it into the plastic pots. You do need quite a steady hand for this. I've wasted a lot of products before pouring them if I have the shakes and I over pour or spill some, which is always a bit disappointing, but I've sort of built in, I make enough of them that one or two, or if I muck them up, it doesn't really matter. And so here you can see these are all the pots I've got out of this one batch of balm, and you can see they're at different stages of cooling. Some of them are a little bit lighter. You can still see how the centre is a bit darker in all of them. That's because they haven't set yet. You can speed this process up by putting them into the fridge, but with shea butter, I like to just let it cool at room temperature gently. And you can see here, this jug that I was using to pour has some of the mixture set in it now. So I've poured as much as I can pour, and the rest is in there as cooled. And I just scrape that off and put it into a little jar for myself to use as a tester. And here is the finished product. So I hope you've enjoyed that little behind the scenes today. This whole process for me took under an hour. And so now I have these for sale on my website. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look at the behind the scenes. If you did enjoy it, hit like for me. You can even hit subscribe if you like. That'd be great. I hope you have a great day. Thanks.